Hello, class. This is Algebra 1, 1.8, Introduction to Exponents. Now, this is one of my favorite subjects. It's extremely simple, so let's just get right into it. We're talking about exponents, or exponential notation. All right, let's see if we can follow this pattern. If I start with a number like 2, and then I have a little number on the top of that 2, let's say it's a 3, I would write this out as 2 times, that little dot means times now, 2 times 2. Each of these twos, each of these twos, comes from the exponent. It tells me how many times I should multiply this thing by itself. Remember when we were doing addition. Addition would tell you how many times that you should add something by itself. So 2 times 3 was, let me move this real quick. 2 times 3 was 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. That was multiplication, repeated addition. Exponents, on the other hand, are repeated multiplication. It's just the next step up. So here you have 2 to the third power. That's how we say that, 2 to the third power, or 2 cubed. We'll go over the terminology later, but all you need to know right now is that when you have the little number at the top, the exponent, it tells you how many times to multiply the large number by itself. So 2 times 2 is 4. Drop the symbols. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 cubed, or 2 to the third power, is 8. Simple, right? Let's continue. Let's do one more and then we'll talk about terminology. So if I had, let's pick a good number. Let's pick 4. And I said 4 to the second power. Well, all I need to do is, the 2 tells me how many times I need to multiply 4 by itself. So it's 4 times 4. 4 once, 4 twice. I can write it in green so it shows that I have consulted the exponent. 4 times 4 is 16. This is where the times tables comes in handy. So 4 squared is 16. Let's try 4 to the third power. Let's see what that gets us. 4 to the third power is 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4, again, is 16. Drop all the symbols that I haven't used. Times 4. 16 times 4, I don't know off the top of my head, which is embarrassing as a math teacher. Actually, I do know it. It's 3264. 4 times 6 is 24. Yep. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 64. That's right. 64. So 4 cubed is 64. And then you can just continue going up all the way until infinity. Okay? Now let's talk about special rules. Special rule number 1. A number, any number, to the 0th power comes out 1. So 4 to the 0 is 1. 5, 6, 100, 3,000, negative 4,000, or negative 470. I'll write it in red to keep it consistent. If you put these to the 0th power, they all come out the same. Whether positive or negative, it doesn't matter. They are all 1. Okay, that's rule number 1. Any number to the first power is just that number. You're not multiplying it by anything, so it just stays where it's at. So negative 470 to the first power is just negative 470 because you're not multiplying it by anything. Negative, or 3,000 to the first power is just 3,000. Andre 3000, for those of you who know Outcast. 100 to the first power is 100. Five to the first power is 5. 4 to the first power is 4. Okay, that's rule number 2. I think those are the 3 rules I'm going to tell you about right now. Yes, okay. 4 to the 0th, any number to the 0th comes out 1. 4 to, or any number to the first power just remains that number. All right, now let's do some negatives. Basic point with negatives, if it's an even number negative, you're going to get a positive number. If it's an odd number negative, you're going to get a negative number. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you have negative 2 to the third. All right, how do I write that out? Quite simple. Just like I told you, it's a number multiplied by itself. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. I've gotten rid of the little dots that could have gone here, and I just said if I have a parentheses, I can use it as multiplication. And then I just multiply normally. Just make sure it's correct. 3, that's negative 2 to the third power. We've got 3 of them. And so I say, what's negative 2 times negative 2? Well, negative times a negative is a positive. So it's going to be positive 2 times 2 is 4. All right. Put that in parentheses just to keep it consistent. Drop what I haven't used yet. 4 times negative 2, a negative times a positive is a negative number. So negative, and then 4 times 2 is 8. So my final answer is negative 8. So like I was saying, if you have a negative number taken to an odd power, like 3, you're going to get a negative number. Every time. Every single time. Except if it's to the, I'm not sure about the 0th power. But basically for most numbers, negative 2 or a negative number with an odd exponent will give you a negative number. We can try it again with another negative number. Let's go with negative, I don't know. Let's do a negative number. 5 to the, let's go to the first power. It's just going to give you that number again, so it's negative 5. Any negative number to an odd number exponent will give you a negative number. Let's try negative 5 to the third power. So it's negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Drop what I haven't used yet. Negative 20, or positive 25, excuse me, times negative 25 is negative 625. There you go. Negative 5 cubed is equal to negative 625. So that's any negative number to an odd number. Exponent will give you an odd number. Let's try it now with a positive exponent, but a negative number. So what that looks like is, let's say we've got negative, so we have negative 6 to the second power. Well, that's just negative 6 times negative 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. 6 times 6 is 36. Negative 6 squared is 36. Interestingly enough, so is 6 squared. 6 squared is the same as saying 6 times 6, or 6 to the second power. 6 times 6 is positive 36. So 6 squared is also 36. Exponents are fun that way. Let's try another one. Let's try negative 8. Negative 8 to the 4th power, even number. So that's negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8. That's 4 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative times a negative and a negative times a negative. That's going to be a positive 64 over here and a positive 64 over here. We're still multiplying. That hasn't changed. So negative or positive 64 times positive 64 is, I have no idea. So now I need to use my 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. Drop the 0. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 6 is 36. 36, 37, 38. Adding 6. 5 plus 4 is 9. 8 plus 2 is 10. 1 plus 3 is 4. There's your final answer. 4,096 is your final answer to negative 8 to the 4th power, which ironically is also going to be the same thing as 8 to the 4th power. As we saw, any number to its even power is the same as its odd value to the same power. All right, so what did we learn here today? We learned that any number, we'll call it A, any number A to any power, let's say 3, is just that number multiplied by how many times the exponent tells you. That's a to the 3, that's, or a to the 3rd rather, not a to the 3, sorry. A to the 5th would be a times a times a times a times a. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we did that. We also said that any number that is negative to a negative exponent would produce a negative number. So negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. That's 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. And then lastly, we said any negative number to a even exponent will become positive. Finally, let's talk about terminology. In an exponent, the large number is called the base, and the exponent is called, well, the exponent. The answer to the exponent question is called a power. So what I mean by that is 4 to the 3rd, 4 times 4 times 4, that's 16. 16 times 4 we said was 64. So 4 to the 3rd power is 64. Another way we could say that is 64 is the 3rd POWER, or power of 4. So 64 is the third power of 4. 4 to the third power is 64. I'll show you one more example of that. If I said 5 to the second power is what? You would say, well, it's 5 times 5, which is 25. So 5 to the second power is 25, or 25 is the second power of 5. It's also the second power of negative 5, as we have shown. Negative 5 squared is negative 5 times negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. See? All right. That is it for exponents. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video. Stay classy.